Previously on Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, the rule of Corrados applies, or really Volkswagen maintenance in general, but there was a lot more work than we expected.
Okay, the motor is back together. There's a couple of connectors that I need to put back in place, like the coolant level connector. That's a good thing to have in there if we want to not have that annoying blinking light on our dash. So maybe a both hands kind of thing, or let's see. There we go. That's happily on there. And the brake level sensor there, both of those are now back in place. So now that's done. Now we can get to the supercharger. Yes, so the first thing I'm going to do before I start installing anything is I'm going to extend the mass airflow sensor. I've built a longer wiring harness for it, so I'm going to cut it right here, splice in the new section so that the mass airflow sensor can go all the way down underneath the fender well, and it's going to hang out right behind in here. So that's gonna happen. Oh, spiders are moving in. Good, Halloween time. So that's happening. Anyway, yeah, that's where that's gonna happen. So that's step one. We're gonna splice in this wiring harness, and then I think we're in shape to start putting the charger back on again. We had mocked it up before, discovered a couple of issues. I think we've resolved them. One thing I do need to do also is install the oil catch can. So that is gonna mount right off the back of this bracket here. So we're just gonna do a mild relocation of this little smog valve. It'll just move over to the side. Catch can will go there. That'll live happily. So we're making good progress. Okay, this is a big scary moment here, is actually cutting this mass airflow sensor harness, because there are precious few of these left in existence. So here we go. It's done, it's cut, and now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna prep these on this end to add the end of the wiring harness, and on the other end over here I'm going to splice this on so that we now have an extended wiring harness. Give us plenty of room for that. Let's prep this. I'm gonna go wire by wire and strip it, rather than do all of them at once. Theoretically, these wire strippers can do that, but I don't want to run the risk of breaking these very old, brittle wires, so I'll just take time, and it's not even grabbing onto it. So there we go. One more. Now we just got to tin them, get heat shrink on them, and splice it into the new wiring harness. So place that there, some flux. There are a lot of people that will cry foul about my wiring techniques here, my soldering techniques. And I'll just say I learned this particular brand of soldering at West Springfield High School back in the late 80s. So I'm sure there are other better ways to do it, but this is how I know. So this is how I'm doing it. And I've got this very interesting soldering tip. It's a low heat soldering iron. It allows me to pool the solder on there and then deposit it onto the wires that I'm tinning. There are people that have always given me a hard time saying, oh, you're going to burn the solder doing this. This is not a hot enough soldering iron to burn the solder, so it's just a handy technique for low heat. Alright, so that's there. I'll get the other end of this prepped with heat shrink, so after I connect the two, I can seal them against the elements, and then I'll do some more of the cloth wrap around it on the outside just to really be sure that it's completely watertight and element proof and all that. Elephant proof. Did I just say elephant proof? Yes. Yes, we're gonna make these elephant proof, apparently. As I mentioned in another video, two of these wires on the original harness are exactly the same. They're brown with a blue stripe. I have added some red dots to the blue stripe harness so that I can tell them apart as I'm doing this. So I'm going to start with that so I don't mess it up, and we'll go from there. So that one is going to want to connect to this one here. I'm going to bend all the other guys out of the way. These brittle things. There we go. So I'm going to want those two together. And then I'll heat shrink it and we'll move on. Okay, so now they're all soldered together. I'm gonna take a little torch, heat it up, make sure that all the shrink wrap is actually shrunk. I'll probably use a heat gun for that instead, just to not burn anything. And then I'll wrap with the cloth wrap all the way up, and then we can start attaching it at the other end there. Voila! Extended wiring harness. This should give us plenty of length to go all the way down in there. So that can run along the side. Could probably run it underneath here and then along the side and down into there without getting fouled up on other stuff. But yep, we got plenty of length now. And with that, I think that's enough for the day. Again, we've got sunlight leaving us, so we're gonna go ahead and put everything away. Call us mischief managed for one more day of the Corrado project. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit like, subscribe, share it if you know some weirdos that like Corrado stuff, or just whatever. I don't know. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. Next time. See ya.
And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to say goodbye. We'll be back.